Hey everyone, and welcome back. I hope you liked my little assistant there. He was dying to get in on the action for this one, so I had to find a way to get him in this video. So I hope you guys like that, and we are going to be kicking off three reviews here tonight, starting with this one here for Killer Clown, and I have two more of the new Kringle fragrances. So we're down to the wire, the last three. And if I can stay awake, we're going to get it done. I am filming these on Wednesday night. The launch is technically happening kind of overnight tomorrow, Thursday night into Friday. The launch time itself is actually 12:01 a.m. on Friday, so that is midnight Eastern Standard Time. So these should be going up throughout the day that Thursday here. So trying my best. We're going to get things started kind of right off the bat here. First, all my disclosures here, you guys know, Kringle sent me these. I'm an ambassador with them. They sent me the 12 new fragrances, and I've been just reviewing them here one by one. So thank you again to Kringle for giving me this super fun opportunity. And thank you to you guys for tuning into all of these reviews. And if you're going to be shopping the launch, well, I guess kind of tomorrow night, my code Simply Scented will get you 15% off of your purchase. And that is a commission code, so thank you if you do choose to use that. But I think I kind of rushed through that. All the information you need will be in the description of the video. I just kind of want to jump into these reviews here and get things started. So I am going to give you the scent notes here for Killer Clown. First, I guess I'll give you the overview of my burn here. I burned this for about 26 to probably actually more 27 hours here by this point. And we are a good solid halfway into this candle. And the last like couple burns or so have been a little bit on the longer side, but I did catch up with this one. It was a little bit tough to get started with this one. I wasn't a huge fan of it to start with, but it has grown on me a little bit. So we will talk all about that. But first, let me give you guys the scent notes. We have got top notes of ginger, apple, fanged fig, mid notes of purplish plum, anise, milky skin, and peach, and we have base notes of warm honey, tonka bean, and dark vanilla. Those who caught my first impressions might remember that this was my least favorite on cold. It was my least favorite of the test burns. And to be completely honest, guys, it's probably my least favorite overall still. I do like it a little bit more now than I did to start with, but there's still just something about it that just isn't quite doing it for me. And this could very much just be my nose sort of thing. I just want to kind of clarify here. I know sometimes people say ambassadors don't like to give negative reviews. And for me, it's not that I'm afraid to give a negative review. I hope that you guys have seen like through the course of now, if we're like eight or nine reviews into this, that I'm giving you the pros and cons. I'm giving you positives. I'm giving you negatives. And, I'm not afraid to say something that's not positive and glowing. For me, what I don't like is saying I don't like something, which is a subjective statement, because I don't want to put somebody off from something that they might actually like. So even though this isn't working for me, if the notes kind of sound good to you and you're interested in this, don't let my opinion put you off. Like, I don't want to ruin something and have you not buy it because of something I said, and then you end up missing out on something that you might have really loved. So that's where I don't love giving like a negative sort of review. It really has nothing to do. I really don't care about the sales and all that, guys. I really just want to help you guys figure out what you want to buy. I'm not afraid to say like if there's a bad performance or anything like that. So really, I just don't want to put you off of something. So I'm going to try to be as objective objective as I can here and just kind of walk you through what I feel like I'm smelling. And I'm going to point out the part that I think is not quite adding up for me. And then you guys decide for yourself. I haven't read or watched any reviews, but I have heard a couple of ambassadors have enjoyed this one. So see what others are saying, and we'll kind of go from there. So initially on cold, I felt like this was kind of a almost darker concept, a little bit complex. And here's where I've kind of changed a little bit. It is still complex, but instead of like the term dark, I would say just a little mysterious. It really doesn't have as dark of a overall feel as I would have thought for a killer clown concept, like maybe creepy clown, but not killer clown, because this is in its essence sort of a fruity scent. And I would actually say it verges on a little bit of playfulness, like a playful, mysterious clown versus something dark and scary. So that has kind of changed as I've gotten into this burn. And I don't know if it was just the way it was adding up on cold, but burning it now, I'm getting more of the fruity notes here. I'll kind of walk you through where I kind of start with. The first thing that hits me is a fresh, crisp sort of apple note mixed with a spicy ginger. And I've talked about ginger coming through a little bit. I felt like in the Exorcism candle, and that being like a sweeter sort of citrusy ginger. This has more of that spicy feel, still kind of fresh, but more of a spicy ginger. And, you know, kind of blended in there with the apple note. Then I get a plum, which maybe you guys will know what I'm talking about. Plum, they call it purplish plum. I don't know what makes it purplish. For me, it's almost like when you go to the grocery store and you buy a plum and it looks really nice and dark and juicy and you think it's going to be nice and sweet, but then you bite into it and it is really that tart, that tart sort of quality. If you've ever bitten into a plum that has that just kind of sour tartness, especially in that skin, I get kind of a slightly tartness to this plum note here rather than something sweet and juicy. And I feel like I don't know, there's just something about that I'm not loving here, but I also don't like that sort of tart bite of plum in general, like when I'm eating them, so maybe it's partly that. Then kind of layered in there with that plum is this peach note, which again, to me, isn't overly ripe or juicy. It's just kind of fresh. I almost get a little bit of an apricot tone to this peach note as well, but the thing here with the peach is it's got the skin on it, and it's hard to kind of describe a peach skin sort of smell. So I guess if you think, you know, smell and taste are all connected. So if you think of it this way, the difference between biting into a peach with that skin on the outside and you get that skin in your bite as you're chewing, it kind of has that different taste to it versus if you were to bite just that fleshy inside of the peach or a peeled peach, if you will. Either way, you know, that's kind of the difference here, where you get like a little bit of that peachy skin note to it. And all of that is fine for me here so far. Where I think this one loses me a little bit is I get, I think the sweetest element here I get is the fig note, which I'm not really a big fan of fig, so I'm just gonna throw that out there. Fig is not really something I gravitate to. I haven't tried the new fig candle that Kringle came out with. It's just not something I tend to like in general, and I feel like that's sort of the sweetest kind of fruity element we have here, and I'm kind of just not loving it because I feel like the way it's combining with the sort of creamy element I'm getting here, and I mentioned this in my first impressions as well, something here is giving me something slightly creamy with a like lactonic sort of edge to it, and it's not coming across as like a sour milk, but it just, for me, I'm not loving it. And I don't know if that is the milky skin. I still, I was hoping by the end of this I'd come back and say I figured out what they mean by milky skin. I still have no idea, but maybe it's that creamy sort of lactonic slightly piece that I'm getting here. Maybe it's the dark vanilla from the base. I really don't know, but something here is slightly creamy. And I think the way it combines with that fig for me, I think that's where this one loses me a little bit. Otherwise here, I do get a little drizzle of honey. It's not an intense honey note, but just a little different sort of sweetness than I'm getting from that fig and from the fruity notes. And then really the only other piece here, it's the anise. I'm not getting anything specifically tonka bean. I'm sure it's kind of in there somewhere. There's something here that I still can't quite put my finger on. But the anise here almost comes through a little like a very mild sort of licorice tone, kind of more in line with the red licorice rather than like a dark black licorice. But it's very mild, especially as it mixes with the fruity notes. So I guess if you think in terms of how different it would be, or how much the intensity difference would be if you were to open a bag of straight licorice by itself versus maybe a mixture of candies in a bag or a bowl where you have some pieces of licorice in there with some other like really fruity candies. Like that's kind of the difference. You still smell the licorice in that bowl a little bit, but it's not as straight and overwhelming as just something straight. So for me, it's just kind of a hint in there, and it's not like that heavy black licorice that people really don't like, I think. But for me, it's I don't know, and I'm probably not doing the best job of describing this one, honestly, guys, because I really just feel like I can't totally make sense of this one, and maybe that's kind of the point. I mean, it is, like I said, a little mysterious, but it does have that sort of playful quality about it because of these sweet sort of fruits and that hint of that like little bit of licorice in there. It does have almost like a slight tone of like a candied quality to it. Not like heavily sweet candy, but just something kind of light and playful, like maybe a waft coming out of like your treat bag if you were to have a bunch of fruity sort of candies in there. But I don't know. For me, again, I don't hate it. I've been able to kind of get through this, I mean, pretty good way into the candle here, and it hasn't been anything terribly off-putting. It's just not something I'm loving. But ending this review here on a positive note, the performance piece has been excellent. The actual strength and throw, I feel like, is probably a solid medium 6-7 range of intensity. It's present in the room. It is not overwhelming. It's not like an in-your-face sort of scent, but I do smell it. I get it pretty distinctly. It has overpowered the other one that I've kind of been burning on and off, which is Zombie Horde, which I'll be reviewing next. It's definitely overtaken that one when I've had to overlap those burns. And it's filling my open concept space, and that's from my kitchen area to the living room. I've tried this in multiple spots in my home and got similar results. So it's holding up really well with high ceilings, and its ability to travel, I would say probably somewhere in a 5-6. It's there. It doesn't have a huge reach. It will kind of travel a little outside of this general area, but it's not like filling my house. It's not totally filling the first floor. But you know what, for what it is and having a nice presence in the room that it's in, for me, I think that's pretty good. So otherwise, the actual burn itself, I've had no issues with this one. I'm going to try to turn it a little bit so you can see where I'm at. But we're here, good half of the way in. I have not had any sooting issues with this one, or especially hot burns, really just the first one again. And yeah, I mean, that's about all I can say on this one here. I'm going to turn this back. Hopefully that's straight, or it's going to bother me. But as for comparisons, I really don't have any, guys. Again, this doesn't really remind me of anything. It's just kind of unique. It's kind of in its own little lane here, and definitely a different choice. But like I said, I don't want to scare you off. If the notes really sound good to you, give it a try. You know what? This could just be a me thing. It very well could be. So that's my take on Killer Clown. And I hope you guys liked that review. If you did, give it a thumbs up. And I'm just going to kind of keep things rolling along here. If you haven't subscribed yet, I hope you subscribe. And I hope you stick around after these Halloween reviews are done, because once my kids finally go back to school the end of August, I'm going to have a little bit more time. I won't have to film these in the middle of the night like a bat or something. I don't know what I am, maybe an owl, and turn into a night owl. But yeah, once they're back in school, I do hope to get some other content here on this channel outside of Kringle, which has always been my plan for this channel, is to have a variety. And I've just kind of fallen into the Kringle trap here, because when I have to review them, it's my focus, and then I run out of time to do anything else. So I hope you guys, if you have subscribed recently, I hope you stick around. And thank you for watching this video. I will be back with my next review, which will be Zombie Horde, probably shortly later today. Have a good day, you guys.